As the Russians retreated from northern Ukraine this week, the Ukrainian army was following close on their heels. Warning: a graphic image that may disturb some readers. Despite the joy that these soldiers would have felt at recapturing their home soil from the Russian invaders, this happiness quickly turned to confusion and then horror. They had discovered the full depravity of the retreating Russian forces, and over the weekend, the rest of the world began to see what these Ukrainian soldiers found. In the small town of Bucha, northwest of the Ukrainian capital of Kiev, bodies of civilians lay where they had fallen in the streets. According to several sources, dozens of civilians had been executed by Russian soldiers in the streets of the town. And according to the town's mayor, many more locals had been buried in a mass grave. This will undoubtedly draw the attention of the International Criminal Court, which has already commenced their investigations into allegations of war crimes in Ukraine. It should. While these investigations will take time, we can already make some observations about what happened in this small town that was, until a few days ago, under the control of the Russian invaders. A sloppy, corrupt military culture. The Russian officers who commanded the forces in and around Bucha were negligent, ethically corrupt and criminal. Military leaders, particularly those in the situation that the Russians in charge of Bucha found themselves, have legal obligations to protect civilians and prisoners of war. The Russian commanders in this particular part of Ukraine has been abject failures in this regard. It has also become clear that the Russian military program of transformation since 2008 has not transformed anything at a human level. Beneath the shine of fancy equipment and clever slogans lies a rotten core of a sloppy and corrupt Russian military culture. The deliberate targeting of civilians in cities across Ukraine for the past month demonstrates a callous disregard of human life throughout the entire Russian chain of command. But this callousness has been taken to a whole new level by the execution of unarmed civilians. But, as the saying goes, fish rot from the head. If a military institution serves a self-interested class of corrupt authoritarians, why would anyone expect that the established military culture and behavior of senior military leaders be any different? I expect that this issue will be examined for years ahead. And while there are many aspects to this abject failure of command responsibility, there are two key issues highlighted by the Bucha that are of relevance to military institutions in the West. That includes the Australian Defence Force. What the ADF can learn. The first is that the study of civil-military relations matters. It is important that democracies have a theory of how military organizations interact with elected governments and with the people they defend. And in some respects, it is at the heart of the behavior of Russian troops and their commanders in Bucha. Evidence of civilians have been found in the streets of Bucha. It is therefore essential that democracies possess constitutionally enshrined civil primacy of the military. Most Western democracies, including our own, have this. It is a good foundation for effective military institutions. These theories of civil-military relations will vary slightly from country to country. The variations in how democratic governance is exercised between countries such as Australia and the United States means each nation therefore needs their own interpretation of this element of national security. And each nation needs their own laws and theories that they can use to educate their military, as well as politicians, mandarins in the public service, and most importantly, citizens. The best measure of whether this has been achieved is the performance and behaviors of the military. If the military is representative of the society from which it is recruited, it acts in accordance with the values and expectations of the people. In recent years, scholars such as Elliot Cohen and Risa Brooks have argued for the need to review contemporary civil-military relations and the contract that exists between the military on one side and society on the other. Now is a good time to re-energize such work, and potentially it would be an important additional to AUKUS collaboration. The second issue the Buchans raise is the military is, and must be, a profession. Members of military institutions must see themselves as part of the profession of arms. Only this mindset can prepare the people in these large organizations the sole elements of society legally able to maim and destroy at scale, for the responsible use of those powers. Several times in my last couple of military appointments, I had senior officers disparage the use of the term profession of arms as antiquated, something from World War I, or just an army thing. Acting professionally and ethically is not antiquated. It never has been. It is exactly what our citizens expect from a force that is drawn from them to serve their interests and in their name. Like the vast majority of the soldiers that I served alongside across more than 3 decades, I loved being a member of the profession of arms because it imposed a professional discipline that made us better soldiers, better citizens, and better servants of our nation. All these characteristics are absent from the current Russian military, given its performance over the past 6 weeks. They have shown throughout their disastrous campaign a lack of the vital mindset of a professional. The actions of Russia's military in Ukraine offers lessons in military ethics for the Australian Defence Force. Therefore, the Russo-Ukraine war provides us with a compelling impetus to once again look at Western military organizations to ensure they have the best professional military ethic as a foundation for military effectiveness at the tactical, operational, and strategic levels. Foremost, the topics of civil-military relations and the profession of arms are arcane and quite dry. That is a pity. Because, at heart, the best and most successful military forces are built on smart, connected, ethical, and well-led humans. It is the core of military advantage in this century and every other age. Mick Ryan is a strategist and recently retired Australian Army Major General. He served in East Timor, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and as a strategist on the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff. His first book, War Transformed, is about 21st century warfare.